Milite tateam forte, fruit quintium hostium, forte stetimus et benedicta.
In the 13th century, a parchment discovered in the library of an old abbey told of one knight's bravery in the face of insurmountable odds and his belief in an ancient code of chivalry, a story that would inspire men throughout Christendom.
Giorgio Santi, Giorgio Santi.
Greetings and salutations. I'm Brother Bartholomew, and I'd like to tell you a story, one of great sacrifice, selflessness, and bravery. It all took place a long, long time ago in a far-off kingdom, as all good tales should. Now, I'd be the first to admit that over time, some of the details may have blurred a little, but that doesn't change its essence or heart. If anything, it makes the tale more enjoyable. So, if you're seated comfortably, please join me on this most heroic of adventures.
Story full of blood, guts, and glory from the dark, dark ages. The story of a king who tried every single thing to keep his kingdom safe from harm. The story of a quest that brings out the very best as one man kneels and starts to pray. Hey, 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 St. George, will you fight for me? Will you go into battle day or night? Hey, St. George, will you fight for me? Will you lay down your life for me? A medieval battle unfolds before our eyes. Fire rains down around us out of the ashen skies. Our kingdom held to ransom, besieged by an evil beast. What will it take to make this mayhem cease? Hey, hey, St. George, will you fight for me? Will you go into battle day or night? Hey, St. George, will you fight for me? Will you lay down your life for me? The story of a king, the story of a quest. What a tale to tell. A dragon from volcanic hell, a princess to be sacrificed. Then from another land, a disciple makes us stand, fighting evil like canine possessed. The dragon's out for strife, some villagers lost their life. Will the brave knight make the creature pay? Hey, St. George, will you fight for me? Will you go into battle day or night? Hey, St. George, will you fight for me? Will you lay down your life for me? Lay down your life for me.
The kingdom of Selene was once a thriving and happy kingdom, located on the shores under the shadow of Damon's Cupola, the devil's lair. A long since inactive volcano, its people were humble farmers and shepherds, and the town was a popular trade centre, while Selene's king ruled the land with a fair but firm hand. Recently the kingdom had fallen on hard times. Few would chance travelling to trade there, while the people lived in constant fear. Several years earlier, just days before the celebrations of the new year, the ground shook, and for the first time in an eon, the volcano expectorated smoke, ash, and molten boulders. A smell of brimstone hovered heavily in the air. Birds and woodland creatures disappeared, as if Mother Earth had warned them of the fate that was to befall the kingdom. Just as quickly as it had started, the volcano settled back into its dormant state. The land was once again calm. The people ventured out cautiously and surveyed the damage, which was minimal, the obvious being a gaping hole in the side of the volcano, a large, ominous cave. News spread of this change in the landscape, and within a few hours the king and a large portion of his kingdom had gathered at the lake to see for themselves. It was then they first heard these new and frightening sounds. From the skies above came a slow, rhythmic whooping sound like 1,000 birds flying in unison, followed by an ear-piercing screech. Confused, they scoured the skies to see what could have made such a fearful sound. When the beast rounded the top of the volcano, the sight filled them with fear. Surely this was not a creature that nature had created. The dragon measured just over 30 feet from snout to tail, covered in mottled green scales that in places were over 2 inches thick and could shatter Damascus steel. The linked scales rose up along the center line from its head to its tail. Its powerful back legs propelled this reptilian abomination, and its long claws could slice a man in two. But these features paled by its most menacing abilities. Attached to muscular shoulder blades were wings. A leathery membrane stretched across bony, finger-like appendages gave this creature the gift of flight, and yet there was still worse to come. A flammable venom filled 2 large sacs at the top of the throat, while a chemical reaction from secretions released through glands in the cheeks ignited small flames in the mouth. When it inhaled deeply, the flames would ignite. Then, when the creature expelled the air with great gusto, the increased pressure atomized the flammable venom. As it passed through the mouth, the spray ignited, causing a billowing ball of hellfire to spew forth. If not for the unnatural geological activity awakening the beast, it may have slept, hidden. But now the devil's pet was loose and required feeding.
The mountain shook with a fiery cry, awakening the creature from hell's lullaby. Eons passed while the creature slept, but now you've awakened Lucifer's pet. There's something evil here, a creature causing fear. It's got no conscience, no regrets. It must be Lucifer's pet. This freak of nature takes what it likes, shoots fiery breath with inferno strikes. You won't catch it in a net. Perhaps you need a satanic vet for Lucifer's pets. A creature causing fear. It's got no conscience, no regrets. It must be Lucifer's pet. We need a champion, someone to rise and take on this supernatural prize. We'll be forever in your debt if you could kill Lucifer's pet. Lucifer's pet. Lucifer's pet. Lucifer's pet. Lucifer's pet.
It passed around 50 feet above their heads, and with an unholy growl it sent forth a flame, reaching 20 feet or more. They scattered looking for shelter. Some found cover, while others were not as lucky. When the attack was over, the creature fled to its sanctuary within the cave. 10 were missing, scooped up in a feeding frenzy or reduced to ash and bone. The king ordered that 2 sheep be tethered daily by the cave to appease the beast, while he called for his bravest fighters, and together they plotted to kill the creature. They tried, sometimes in large groups, sometimes in pairs. Even bravely, some faced the creature on their own. All failed, and after several years, the king's army was dwindling, and so was their supply of livestock. Merchants and travellers avoided Selene and the once happy kingdom slipped into a deep despair.
Oh, my Celine, your streets are empty. Beggars sit where there was plenty. Traders bartered and people were wealthy. Oh, my Celine. Oh, my Celine was a kingdom to envy. Finest goods and work was plenty. Happy commoners and gentry. Oh, my Celine. Oh, my Celine. Look at us now. No more paddocks of sheep or cow. Fallow fields cry out for the plow. Oh, my Celine. Oh, my Celine, what will we do? How will we see this crisis through? Is this the end for me and you? Oh, my Celine.
After living with this creature for years, they had nothing else to give. The spiritual leaders advised the king that a human sacrifice may appease the evil that had gripped the land. The king reluctantly agreed to a lottery to select a sacrifice. Unknown to the king, his daughter had placed her own name on the register, and as chance would happen, was the first to be picked. He was first filled with rage, but realizing that he could not expect sacrifices from his subjects if he himself was not prepared to endure the same, his rage turned to sorrow and helplessness. The princess prepared for her upcoming departure from life. She slipped out of the compound and headed for the lake, something she often did, bathing in the still water while reflecting peacefully. She disrobed and entered the water, drifting like a lost piece of flotsam. As she approached the bank, she saw George, his armor neatly placed under a tree, along with his weapons and tunic. She watched as he washed the day's dust from his body. He had seen her silhouette frolicking in the crystal waters. She called to him to join her, and he did.
She saw your body glisten in the moonlight and wanted you close to her. The water's warm and she's feeling alright. She sees your eyes follow her. Tonight she needs a good night, someone to take her cares away, take her to heaven in the waves tonight. Tomorrow there'll be hell to pay. Tomorrow there'll be hell to pay. She spent her life doing what was right. She needs some time for her. Tomorrow she promises to do what's right. Tonight it's all about her. Tonight she needs a good night, someone to take her cares away, take her to heaven in the waves tonight. Tomorrow there'll be hell to pay. Tomorrow there'll be hell to pay. She knows it's not polite to want such things. All she has is tonight. Who knows what tomorrow brings? Tonight it's hold her tight. Tonight she needs a good night, someone to take her cares away, take her to heaven in the waves tonight. Tomorrow there'll be hell to pay. Tomorrow there'll be hell to pay. Tonight she needs a good night, someone to take her cares away, take her to heaven in the waves tonight. Tomorrow there'll be hell to pay. Tomorrow there'll be hell to pay.
She explained she was a princess and invited George to stay at their keep, which he accepted graciously. She didn't elaborate about what was to happen the very next day. The king greeted George, but appeared distracted and distant. George could feel the despair in the room. Once they were alone, he asked the king if his presence offended him. If so, he would leave. The king apologized for his demeanor and recounted the events that had led up to this point and how his daughter was to be sacrificed. George immediately insisted that he trade his life for the princess's. At first, the king dismissed the offer. After all, it wasn't his fight, and he was a guest in their kingdom. But George persisted. He was bound to a code. This was his quest, and as far as he was concerned, being here at this time was ordained. The king relented. He saw something different within George. A strength of purpose, tempered with a gentle kindness. George's passion was infectious and inspired the king, filling him with hope. He thought, this is no ordinary man.
Life's a lottery, some will win and some will lose. Just a waste of life, and no one gets to choose. The devil's placed his bet, he rolls his dice of sin. When you see the serpent's eyes, you know he's out to win. You know he's out to win. Never give up, never give in. Face your fears within. Never yield, never submit. While the flame of life still lit, never succumb, never ease up. When you're down on your luck, never relent, never give way. There will be a better day. Never relax, never rest. In the long run, you'll be blessed. And never give up. When you're weary and disheartened, and the hearts are looking thin, you can tell the hand that no one wants, still play to win. The night is young, so double down and go all in. And whatever you do, I say to you, if you want the chance to win, if you want the chance to win, never give up, never give in. Face your fears within. Never yield, never submit. While the flame of life still lit, never succumb, never ease up. When you're down upon your luck, never relent, never give away. There will be a better day. Never relax, never rest. In the long run, you'll be blessed. Never give up. Never give up, never give in. Face your fears within. Never yield, never submit. While the flame of life still lit, never succumb, never ease up. When you're down upon your luck, never relent, never give way. There will be a better day. Never relax, never rest. In the long run, you'll be blessed. And never give up.
The morning saw people start to gather at the lake. As word of the foreign knight replacing the princess spread, more and more people gathered to watch the beast consume the night. As the king, his court, the princess, and George arrived, the crowd cheered. An element of optimism fought against the skepticism that had flourished. For the first time in years, hope started to spread. The king reached out and grasped the knight's arm. He would be forever grateful, whatever the outcome. Arriving at the cave, George said a prayer asking for guidance and strength. Then, from the cave, 2 red eyes glared at him. He heard the beast growl, a sound that reverberated through his armor, followed by a blast of flames that lit up the cave and rolled menacingly towards him. George felt the heat but stood his ground. Without warning, the dragon pushed off with its powerful back legs, reaching the cave's entrance in a few bounds. George had no time to react, unable to even draw his sword before the beast was upon him. As the dragon cleared the rocky opening, his wings spread, and as he passed over George, the force threw him into the air like a child's rag doll. He landed heavily and lay unconscious, while the dragon circled the lake, completing a lap of victory. The crowd watched as another champion had fallen, and as their new-found hope dissipated, they quietly waited for the inevitable conclusion. It appeared that all was lost. The king bowed his head in respect, and the princess quietly sobbed, unable to fight her sadness.
I am one, trying my best. I've just one life to give to this quest. There's but one code in which I must trust. I am one, trying to be just. When you strip away my armor, you see the man inside. Just flesh and blood formed out of mud, just like all mankind. Don't think that I'm special. At a closer look you'll see I'm just a man like any man. There's nothing special about me. I am one, fighting to survive. I don't have much, but this powerful drive. There's just one fight that I stand for. I am one, nothing more. When you strip away my armor, you see the man inside. I'm just flesh and blood formed out of mud, just like all mankind. Don't think that I'm special. At a closer look you'll see I'm just a man like any man. There's nothing special about me.
From within the crowd, one called out George's name, then a second and a third, until all that had gathered joined with them, willing him to rise up. Stunned and in pain, George made it to his feet while the flying creature made his way back towards him. He drew his sword and held tightly to the shield's brace, ready to take on the greatest battle of his life.
I am one, one can be two, two becomes three. But Here today starts with me. I am one, I am one, I am one, I am one, I am just one man.
The mighty beast landed on the sand and reared up on its hind legs, lifting its head straight up in an act of dominance. When the creature noticed George, it inhaled deeply, then exhaled, the atomized mist creating a ball of fire that shot out directly at George. The flames licked the shield's face and glanced around him, until once again the dragon was out of breath. George could see the thinner, almost translucent skin that covered the venom sac, just under the dragon's head. If his sword had any hope of piercing the leathery underside, this was his target. But he didn't have long. A couple of deep breaths to recover, and a winged serpent could rain hellfire back down upon him. George dropped his shield and helmet to lighten his load, and ran as fast as he could directly at the dragon. Leaping into the air, he thrust his sword into the softer underside of the beast, piercing one of the venom sacs. It burst open, fluid covering the creature, who instinctively took to the air. As the beast climbed, the more venom spilled over its body. Confused and angry, the dragon sent bursts of flames randomly in all directions, igniting the leaked venom, setting its own body alight. As the flames consumed the beast, the skin covering its wings burnt away. The fireball descended back to earth, crashing into the lake. The burnt corpse disappeared below the waves, never to be seen again. The crowd erupted with screams and praises for this man that had accomplished what many had failed to do. News of his epic battle spread, and from the dragon's ashes, Selene's despair was lifted. Legend or myth? We will never know what really took place. So what then was the point? Inspiration? Motivation? A simple message that we have the embodiment of George's spirit. The capacity for sacrificing our needs for others, for being selfless and brave in the face of adversity, not only towards others but to ourselves, and regardless of how big or seemingly unbeatable our dragon is, there resides a dragon slayer within.
Take a look around you, the people that you see, each and every one of them is a hero potentially. And to the ones that put themselves directly in harm's way, thank you just doesn't seem enough for us to say. Not all heroes fly, but their spirits soar. Heroes are not invincible, so heroes often fall. It matters not just who you are, as long as you answer the call. There's a hero deep within us all. When you're feeling down, you've given up the fight, the odds of getting out of this are shrinking into the night. There's a choice that you must make that will rock you to the core. There's a hero deep within us all. Not all heroes fly, but their spirits soar. Heroes are not invincible, so heroes often fall. It matters not just who you are, as long as you answer the call. There's a hero deep within us all. Not all heroes fly, but their spirits soar. Heroes are not invincible, so heroes often fall. It matters not just who you are, as long as you answer the call. There's a hero deep within us all. There's a hero deep within us all.
Now, if you will be so kind as to excuse me, the bells serve to remind me that I have duties elsewhere. So I'll bid you a blessed day and safe travels, my friend.